latest update is, arrange my cushions. It is Saturday of week 3, CELTA. So I'm about to start week 4, last week. I cannot tell you what a relief that is. Yeah, it is really tiring. At the moment I'm fine because it's Saturday, like the weekends, usually Friday night, Saturday night, and maybe Sunday night, I can get a good night's sleep. And then the other nights, I'm getting literally like 1 or 2 hours sometimes sleep a night. Most nights is probably about 3 hours sleep, and then occasionally there'll be a night when I get 1 hour or 2 hours. So yeah, that's what you're looking at. I take longer to do my work. I always have done, all the way through school. It's always just taken me that bit longer to do my work than other people. So the other people on my course are getting slightly more sleep. Maybe they're getting like 6 hours a night or something, 4 hours on a bad night. But like, I'm well adjusted to that. Like, I'm 24 now and I've only just left education system, and yeah, I've learnt sleep endurance. So like, yeah, 8 hours sleep a week in a 5-day week for me is, I can handle it for a limited period of time. I think the reason for that is, so partly I'm dyslexic, so like writing and reading, and there's things that I do really well that I think I do well because I'm dyslexic. Like, I'm quite creative, and yeah, what I do well, but stuff that I don't do well is like writing and tracking and copying across from one sheet to another, and certain things like that just take me a bit longer to do. The other thing is I'm a perfectionist, so I was trying to gauge an idea of how late other people were staying up last week, and they're saying that they just stay up until their lesson plan is done. They won't necessarily finish their lesson plan, they'll just get it to a reasonable state where it's okay, and then they'll go to bed and then do as much as they can the next day. Whereas I'm like, the thought of handing something in not done to me is just inconceivable. Like, I can't do that. So I will stay up until it's done, and obviously the more tired you get, the longer it takes you to do the same amount of stuff, so then it takes you longer and longer. So again, that's another thing, is at the cost of sleep, I will stay up late to get things done. And you could also argue that if you're staying up really late and losing sleep, then are you going to do it as well? And I think probably not, but in terms of I'm not staying up later than I normally would, like for my degree, this is about the same amount of sleep as I was getting through my degree, and I managed to do that. So that's okay. Another thing you might want to know if you're going to do a CELTA is, on each of the assignments you do, you can submit it twice. So you submit it first time and you'll either get a pass or a resubmit. And a resubmit is not a fail, that means there's stuff you can do to improve it. And then you normally have like a week or half a week sometimes to redo the task and fix the things that they give you, like feedback. So you fix the things in your feedback and then you resubmit it. And the first time I got my first assignment back and it said resubmit, I was like, what have I done wrong? I should be able to do this, because like, it's not very difficult. You know, it felt like quite an easy thing to do. So then when I got to resubmit, I was like, and then I looked round and everyone else's faces were like, and that we all had resubmit. So basically, if you can submit it twice and get a higher mark the second time round, like, it doesn't affect your overall grade, the fact that you've resubmitted. You can just submit twice, and no matter what you do, it's very rare that you'd be able to get something that's 100% perfect the first time you do it. So if you can do it one more time and get a slightly better mark, why not? So if you get resubmits on your assignments, do not panic, do not freak out, do not get depressed and let it ruin your day, because it's just fine, it's just normal. And I've had resubmit, I've done 2 so far, and I've had resubmit on both of them. And it's been really minor things, like the first one, I had to resubmit, I had to change a couple of random spelling errors that made it totally understand. It's ironic, so it meant that my thing was failed on unclear English. But it was like 2 letters that were typos that I needed to take out. So there was that, and then just reword a couple of my questions because they felt that it was supposed to be like an overall thing. There were 2, it was asking for you, the reader, to know too much detail when it was supposed to just be asking general questions. So yeah, And I'm about to start my third assignment. Your third assignment is called Focus on the Learner. And so I've had to be kind of watching the students in my classes and taking notes on specific things like specific word sounds and things that they struggle with, or features of grammar. So yeah, and then I've got this assignment that's again 750 to 1,000, that's what they all are, words. And yeah, that's like writing that up. And for all of the assignments, they give you a really clear structure. Like they say, you know, do this and do that, and in this section you do this, and in that section you do that. It's really clear. And in the second assignment, they even gave you an example because it was grammar. They gave you different sentences, and then you had to break down those particular underlined phrases in the sentences, and you had to break them down and say what their form was, how you would explain that phrase to a student, and what sort of tense it was, and things like that. And they even gave you like an example, so you just needed to cut out the words that they put in and put in your own words. And yeah, yeah, so it's going good. That's the summary. It's tiring, but I think it's really useful stuff that we're learning. And next week is the last week. Yay! The other challenge that I'm going to have next week is I have my friend coming to stay, and she's a really good friend. Yeah, I used to work with her, and yeah, I'm really glad that we've kept in touch, and this was the only time we had to meet up, so I'm really glad she's coming. It's just a challenge because it's coming in the final week of CELTA. Oh, that's another point. They say third week of CELTA is the hardest, so I've got that out of the way. It's probably all like according to your own interpretation anyway. It's probably, but technically they say week 3 is the hardest. So yeah, my friend's coming in week 4 on Wednesday, and she'll be here for 2 days. So that will be really nice. Hopefully, it's just my erratic staying up. I'm worried that I'll really annoy her because I'll be like staying up to stupid o'clock doing this work. But maybe as well, I don't know. The reason she's coming is because it's Edinburgh Festival. Woohoo! And her brother is actually one of the performers. He is a really good actor. So got free tickets last year, get free tickets this year. It's all good. But yes, her brother has an act here. And her family, I think, I don't know, just going on last year. Last year she stayed the same time as well. And all her family were here last year as well. So she spent a lot of time, like, because they don't get to see each other necessarily all the time. She spent a lot of time with her family and then came back here quite late as well, I think. So, and I mean, as long as I'm quite quiet when I stay up. But yeah, so this is just again emphasising the point. I think I said it in my last vlog, that if you go away from home to do CELTA, I would say if you can afford to go away and stay away from home and do CELTA, then do it. Because you have all your distractions of life taken away from you, and you have a good excuse. Like someone says, oh, I'm having an engagement party, come to my engagement party. And you say, oh, I'd love to come, but I'm away then. Whereas if I say, come to my engagement party, I can't say, sorry, I've got too much work, because you don't blow off work for big things like that. But you see my issue? If it's little things, like say, oh, we're going meeting up for dinner, come with us. That's easy to say, sorry, I've got too much work on. But I've had like quite a few big things happening that I felt bad saying, and well, I haven't. I've gone to, if I'd been away, it would have been a good excuse to say I couldn't come. The things I've really wanted to go to, because it's just CELTA takes up so much of your life. And my parents, because I'm going to Japan in 2 weeks now, and my parents keep saying, oh, Kathy, have you done this, have you done that, what's next on your to-do list? And I'm like, I can't, I'm doing CELTA, leave me alone. And I think there is enough time to get everything done in my last week. CELTA finishes, and then I have a week here left to do everything I need to do, and then I'm off to Japan. And I think that's enough time. But my parents keep asking, have you done this, have you done that, have you done this? And oh dear, it will be okay. Yeah, so in other news, I picked up my Japanese visa. I got that stamped. So the order for that, if you're interested, maybe I should do another video. I'll tell you now briefly, and then I'll do another video series on going to Japan. Yes, I don't know whether it's just applicable for Japan. It might be vaguely relevant for other countries as well. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I picked up, to get your visa for Japan, basically I needed a certificate of eligibility, which when I had my job, my employer sent me the form to fill in, which I filled in and sent it back to them. There's a lot of sending, like there's been quite a lot of postage costs in all this. I don't know if everyone does it or if it's just my particular employer that has this way. But it's fine, like I don't mind it, like in the grand scheme of things it hasn't cost much. And I mean half the time they've been sending stuff to me, so it's them that it's cost, not me. Yeah. So I got my job. They sent me an application form, which I filled in and sent back to them. They sent that to, I guess, the visa office or something. It got processed. They said, yep, that's fine, let's give her a visa. So then I got a certificate of eligibility, which they gave to my employer, which my employer sent to me. I then had to take that. So this is another good thing. I took it to Japanese consulate, or the Consulate General of Japan in Edinburgh, I think is what it's called. I kept calling it a consort, and Mum's like, no, that's someone who asks questions. Oh, okay, so the consulate, I think that's the right word now. Yes, so I took that to them, and then they looked at it, and they said, yep, this is all fine, you have to bring with you. So to get your visa, you bring your certificate of eligibility and some proof, like I brought my driving license and your passport. And you bring that, and proof ID, yeah. And then they say, yep, that's all fine, we'll give you your visa. You leave your passport with them, and I picked it up a week and a day later. And they have my visa stamped in my passport. I don't know if I can show you. Maybe I should show it to you. This is my passport. I won't show you the inside pages. This is my passport, and they've stamped it in this page here. You get like a nice, pretty sticker with your face on it, and other personal information about me. And then this is the original certificate of eligibility that I was sent. So, yeah. So this is the certificate of eligibility that I was given before I had my visa. They've stapled it into my passport, and you're allowed to fold it, but you mustn't take it out, because when you get to Japan, then they take it out and do something with it. Because I think my visa is valid for 3 years, but it's valid for 3 years upon entry to the country, rather than upon entry of it being stamped here. And I now have 3 months to go into the country. So, yeah, that's how that works. I was really worried because I wasn't sure if I needed to go to the embassy or whether the consulate would be fine. Because I didn't realise until it arrived and my employer said, no, you have to take this. I thought I don't know what. Yeah, I thought that the certificate of eligibility was all I needed to get to Japan, and then they would stamp my visa and my passport once I got there. Yeah, that's what I thought. But that was wrong. So I sent this, and my employer's like, right, now take that to the embassy. And then I looked up online, and it takes another week for them to, or a week and a day in my case, for them to stamp your visa after seeing certificate of eligibility. And I'm like, what? I have to go to the embassy? Because the embassy's in London. So from Edinburgh, it costs me £100 to get one return journey to London. So that's £100 to go there, leave my visa, and then I'd have to go back a week later, so that's another £100 to go pick it up. So it would cost me £200, plus I'm on this CELTA course where the hours all count, so the hours have to add up. If I took 2 days off of CELTA, I wouldn't have enough hours to actually get the certificate by the end of it. So yeah, I was worried about that. In Edinburgh they have a consulate though, and I looked on the consulate's website to see what they could do, and they said they could do some types of visa, but it was quite vague about what sorts, and I was like, I think mine is one of the ones listed here, but I'm not entirely sure. So, and to take it to the consulate, because even they have really restrictive opening hours. They have a really long lunch break. They close at 4:30. They don't open till 10, and they're closed on Saturdays. And I was like, how's this going to work? But luckily, with my observation, so CELTA, in the mornings we have tutorials, and in the afternoon you're either teaching or observing. And apparently we had more observation hours than we actually needed on the course. So I was able to take a couple of afternoons off when I would have been observing to go pick up my visa. So that all worked fine, and I was really glad I got there, and I was like, can you process this one for me? And they're like, yes we can, so that's all good. So yeah, that is today's little update, and like I said, this is like mainly my CELTA vlog, and I don't have times to another Japan. I think I do have time to do a Japan thingy now. We'll see. But I will definitely do a Japan series. But it just depends how life works out, whether I can do it in the next few days or whether it will have to be in the next few months. But it will get done at some point. Yeah, okay. See ya! At the deprivation of my own sleep, I will stay up later to do stuff. Let me put it. Yeah. Woo!